It is almost time for the annual Shaggin for Shelter fundraiser for the UCM, United Community Ministries, and the Bassett Center. And Chris Battle, who is the Executive Director for UCM and the Bassett Center, is our guest, and Deborah Slavin, who is the chair of this fundraising event this year. And this is one of the best fundraising events in everything that goes on in Rocky Mount, isn't it, Deborah?
Well, it's one of those, yes. Last year we
No,
raised...
I think it's the
Okay,
most
well,
fun.
yes. Let me rephrase that. It is the best.
Don't you think,
It's
Chris?
definitely the most fun.
Uh-huh.
We raise money, we have a good time, we eat and fellowship.
Gardeners food.
Gardeners food.
And kind of, besides there's a band and there's some great dancers and it's a fun place to do it right here at the Imperial Center, but all the various gifts that people can bid on, talk about that.
We have a silent auction and we have donations this year from several local artists. We have a beach cottage that's been donated, and the condo that's been donated with the Sunset Cruise at Atlantic Beach. I did that last year and it was fabulous. We had a really good time. A mountain home, Mudcat tickets, hurricane tickets this year. So we've gotten some new things that have come in, and we also do a raffle for some smaller items, gift certificates and things like that. You buy tickets, drop them in the bag, and at the end of the night we'll draw a number and somebody's going home, and it's, you can go home with something if you really want to.
Reasonably priced.
Reasonably priced. And this year we have an added specialty. Wooten Lamb is going to be here to do some live auction items for us. So
now, people don't know who it's Dog Lamb. They don't know who Wooten Lamb is.
Okay.
But he's the best.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he is highly professional.
Yeah, and he brings a lot of excitement to any of these events that he does. I've been to a couple, and he knows how to gear it up.
And it's Friday night, the 27th of February.
Yes.
And if people haven't gotten their tickets yet, what do they need to do?
They can call the Bassett Center at 985-0078. We are in the process of revamping our website, and Chris says that should be back up and running the first of the week, and it's set up there so that you can go online and make a donation.
What is that website?
It is unitedcommunityministries.org.
Okay, all written out, unitedcommunityministries.org.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Yep. You can go there and order your tickets through PayPal.
And I've been the last few years, once I learned about it, I have come in for $35 to be fed, had the opportunity to get some really good bargains and a great band to dance.
Right.
And the camaraderie.
Yeah.
And layered on top of that is you're doing something really nice for United Community Ministries and the Bassett Center. And Chris, kind of bring us up to date on the current situation? Are you full at both facilities now?
We are as of today, and with the recent cold, during the evenings we've had cold, during the day we've been quite decent, but we've had some emergency beds being filled. So we've had the white flag out that we put out when the temperature's 30 degrees or lower. So we've had some individuals.
Which means what?
When the white flag's out, anyone, there's nothing that can stop you from coming into our shelter. Because typically we close at 11 o'clock. But when the white flag's out, we make it open all night for anyone that wants to come in, and they can stay. They don't have to be a part of the program. They'll just come for shelter that night and they leave that morning. So we just want to make certain that we have a place for anybody that's in need when it's really cold.
And the Bassett Center, you've always got a waiting list there.
Always a waiting list at the Bassett Center. Runs between 45 and 50 families. We can house up to 12 families there. Again, typically when we have a vacancy is when we're transitioning one family to another. So it's great to have the Bassett Center here, but it's really sad to see that there are so many additional homeless families in our area. But just to piggyback on what Deborah said a bit, where she talked about, I was speaking with her earlier about the auction items and the things that we were giving, people were giving. I just wanted to say thank you to our community because, as you know, United Way, and it has mentioned it once or twice, but Rocky Mount is, I believe, the #1 community, most generous charitable communities in the nation. Am I correct?
Well, in North Carolina,
North Carolina?
probably I'm sure we rate
Right up-
in the nation too, but in all of North Carolina, I mean, that speaks volumes for
It
the
really
kind of people
does.
who live here.
It really does, and that makes events like this happen. Without folks that are willing to give auction items and just purchase tickets, we've had many people purchase tickets and say, "I'm sorry, I won't be able to make it, but here's my, my donation," and we appreciate that. And if you do that, please give the ticket to someone. Let them come enjoy and partake of that great gardener's food and the auction items and the dance. I may even try to shag this year. I don't know.
That's worth coming to right there for sure. And how will you use the money that's raised?
The money is utilized. Several years ago, our board decided to pretty much allocate the majority of the funds to assist our community shelter on McDonald Street, with a portion also to help the Bassett Center. But our facility on McDonald Street has the lesser amount of funding as far as state, federal, and so on and so forth. Typically, our funds for that particular shelter come from local churches, civic groups, and things of that nature. And as you remember, we had a push about 3 years ago where we had to literally have uncalled financial fundraisers so that we can keep the doors open of that shelter. So we're at a point now where that's not pressing us, but we want to make sure that we're still able to provide the services. So each year since that has happened, we've designated the majority of these funds to go towards the operating costs of the community shelter on McDonald Street, which is also at this point in time undergoing a renovation process. So we'll be able to serve even more within the next several weeks, actually. So we'll, between Soup Kitchen and the actual individuals that we serve there, our numbers will increase. So the funding that we get from this will, again, help to support the cost of providing those services.
Right, and Chris, I think it's really important for people to realize that you rebuild lives. You don't, and I hate to say you don't just let them have a place to sleep and eat, because that's huge. If you're not fed and you don't have a place to sleep, nothing else matters. But you have taken it such a wonderful step farther in how you rebuild the lives. Share that with us.
Well, we've tried. I've been with UCM now for 15 years, and just in particular, with both of our programs, but the one on McDonald Street, the residents at one point had to leave the property at 8 o'clock and couldn't come back on the property till 4. And what I felt we were doing was sending people that were vulnerable and in distress back into an environment in which they are having trouble surviving. And so what we did was we implemented a program around that. We made it so that they can stay on the property from 8 to 4, but then we added programming to make certain that we dealt with the issues that caused them to be homeless, whether it was substance abuse, mental health issues, unemployment, all of those things, life skills. We add those programs to that particular group of individuals that come to the community shelter on McDonald Street. And what we've seen over the years is just lives transform right before our eyes. I heard you say we rebuild lives, and I often say we're just fortunate to be a part of it. They actually do the hard work. They have to say, you know what, I'm ready to make a change and I'm willing to have this program work for me. Because there's components that you have to take from it. It's not for everybody, but what we've always told them is take what you need from this program and make it work for you in your life. And that's where we've seen the people actually begin to say, you know what, this program has literally changed my life.
In the Bassett Center, I think I've read that 70% leave
Yes.
after 9 months. They're able to transition and get back out on their own again.
Into permanent housing. And the same concept with the Bassett Center. We give them the tools to survive and to become self-sufficient. Now it's on them to make certain that they take those tools, utilize them, make them best fit their families, and what they learn or gain from being at the Bassett Center, transition that into their new lives as they leave the Bassett Center so they won't enter into that situation again. So one of the major components of both of our programs is case management, making sure that we work with those individuals to identify the barriers that cause them to be homeless, but systematically eliminate those barriers. We might not eliminate them all, but as I sit with my staff, when a family leaves the program, I start to ask, where were they when they came in? What's better now? Do they have income? I mean, a success to me, we just had a gentleman who just got his driver's license. He hadn't had his license in forever. That's a huge success. If he left us came in without a license but leaves with one, that's a success for me, because he can take that now and build upon it when he leaves our program. So with both programs, that's how I measure success, as to what they did with the tools that we provided and the opportunities, and how we were able to assist with that and help them transition to a better life.
What about GED? Can you help them facilitate
We have GED classes at the Bassett Center. We partner with Nash Community College for our shelter on McDonald Street, because that's in Nash County. We have jobs employability skills training classes at the shelter on McDonald Street. We have life skills classes there. So we partner with both community colleges, because one of the issues with homelessness is either unemployment or underemployment or undereducation. A lot of our residents come in and you get underemployed because of your educational level. And if GED will help you at least get a slightly higher paying job, that's what we urge that families do and individuals do. So we do have that available at the Bassett Center. And the proximity to the McDonald Street shelter to Edgecombe Community College, we have several residents there that are not only going for their GED, but taking up community college classes right now.
Great. Deborah, we're going to take a break in just a minute, but again, tell people where they can get the tickets, the time, the place.
You can contact the Bassett Center at 985-0078 to purchase tickets through them. You can go to our website, unitedcommunityministries.org, and the time is from 6:30 till 10 on Friday, February the 27th.
And we want to pack this place,
Yes.
don't we?
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
We do.
I mean, even if you can only come part of the time, it's so much fun. And to see
It
our
really is.
wonderful Imperial Center, our Imperial Center, I mean, this is the city's gem here. And
Right.
to be able to have it and just have it rocking with good music and fun people and just great bargains and good food, but also we know it's the right thing to do to support United Community
Exactly.
Ministries and the Bassett Center. So thank you for all you do.
I love it.
Well, you must. 15 years. You're, speaking of a gym in our community,
Right,
Chris
right.
Bowles. We're going to take a break, and Bishop Shelton Daniel, who is new on your board,
Yes.
but also learned in going to an event about homelessness, the need, and has really pledged a lot of himself and his church to it.
He certainly has.
We'll be right back.
Are you just starting out on your own and want to be independent? Do you have a family and need a bigger home? Are the kids moving out? And are you downsizing? First Carolina Realty can help. A 1 or 2 bedroom apartment or house for those starting out. A 3 or 4 bedroom home for a growing family. Rentals, sales, new homes, pre-owned homes, investment property in the city or in the country. Call First Carolina Realty. Now is a good time to make that move. Real estate prices are right, interest rates are low, and there is a fantastic selection of homes available.
First Carolina Realty is a fully licensed real estate firm with offices at 3151 Zebulon Road in Rocky Mount.
If you have rental properties and are tired of the headaches associated with managing them yourself, or if you're looking for a new management team to manage your rental properties, call First Carolina Realty at 252-985-2321. Visit our webpage at firstcarolinarealty.com. We will gladly help you with all your real estate needs.
Hi, I'm Jean Almond of Almond's Drugs, and I want to invite you to be Almond's customer for your prescriptions. Our average pharmacy wait for your prescription is only 10 to 15 minutes. We have drive-through windows at both locations. We will deliver your prescription free. Our friendly and very experienced pharmacists specialize in consultation, and we are locally owned and have been a loyal part of your community for over 70 years. Just make one phone call to us and we'll make the transfer so we can start taking care of you. We are joined by one of my favorite people in the whole world. Did you know that?
I'm glad to know that. Glad to know that, Jean.
Well, thank you, Bishop Shelton Daniel. And Bishop Daniel, about a year and a half ago, went to Night Out for Homelessness at the train station. And you have come so far in that opened your eyes, and now you have a homeless shelter at your church on Anderson Street at the Fellowship Hall. You're a board member for United Community Ministries. But I want you, Bishop Daniel, to kind of take us through the journey of what you've seen and what you've learned.
Well, I knew that there was homelessness, but not at the magnitude that it is. That was the piece for me. That was the transitional point on that night, to hear the details of how many families were without somewhere to live, and then to know that there were 600 children in our city with nowhere to live. It was mind-boggling. It really challenged and changed my whole perception of what we were doing as ministry. Our ministry as a whole anyway is about the community and the needs of our community, but to know that we had this magnitude and we were not being in a very integral part of this piece of it was disturbing for me. And so after that night, I just began to just figure ways that we could become a part. But the pivotal moment was still not until one Friday morning. I got a phone call from two of my members stating that there was someone sleeping on our front porch at the church, and it was 30 degrees out.
Wow. And this is, now you've got two locations now. The former Word Tabernacle location is Greater Joy, and that's where your Sunday preaching is primarily, but you've kept the facility on Anderson Street.
Right, 820 North Natural Road is where we do most of the day-to-day operation, but we do all of our community development things out of Anderson Street still, the fellowship hall and the church there. The daycare is still there, but mainly the shelter and the community part is still there. But it was the Anderson Street location that we saw someone sleeping all night, and it was at that moment, I just said, Gene, wow, here we are with facilities, with the doors locked, heat that works, and folks are sleeping outside. And it was 30 degrees at that time of morning, at 8 o'clock in the morning. So just imagine the temperature during the night. And so it was there.
But Bishop Daniel, a lot of people hear about and see things like that, but you did something about it.
Well, it just rocked the very being of who I am and what we're supposed to be about as a city, and as clergymen and as Christians as a whole. And so when it hit me, it just brought tears to my eyes. I told the young lady who called me that day, Michelle McKnight and Deborah McKnight, I told them, not on our watch. It's just not going to happen. And so it was immediately that morning. I remember it just like yesterday that we sprung into action and began making phone calls to make sure that we didn't have any legal ramifications and things of that sort. And so I was beginning to formulate that, and many people were talking to me about the legalities. And I just said, listen, I know there may be some things, some I's I don't dot and some T's I don't cross. But one thing I do know is not going to happen. Not another night. Even if that means that we're doing something, we got to go back and revamp and get some things in place. But not another night someone's going to sleep outside. Not when we have the ability to help.
And of course on McDonald Street, the primary original location that churches in this community came together and formed is a long distance for somebody who's cold, it's dark. You're located right in an area where there could be a need of someone who can't even get up to McDonald Street.
Yeah, and on top of that, our whole goal is to help Chris Battle and that group. It's not to take the place of anything that's happening. We're just trying to make sure that. And at that time, Chris's Shelter, the Bassett Center, or McDonald Street, both of them were full. So there was nowhere for these people to go. So not only are we there because we're in the area in the community, but we are also there to assist Chris and his efforts, because that's what he does well. Let's get that clear. Chris does that very well.
He sure does.
Yeah. So we're there to assist what he's doing with that piece of it. And so as a church, we just made the decision that we're in the community, the Bassett Center is full, McDonald Street is full, these people don't have anywhere to go. Let's get a few cots, let's get someone something to eat.
Let's
give
coffee.
them some soup and coffee. And many nights, Gene, the people that are working there, they don't give them soup. They cook them a full meal. They're eating. You know, they're not just getting soup. I know on Friday nights, especially, and Saturday, there's a husband and wife team and another group that was on Saturday. They cook them meals. It's not, so we're not, because what you find is that people that are homeless, doesn't mean that they're not intelligent. It doesn't mean that they don't have the ability to do things, just that something tragic happened and they could have just fallen on hard times.
And the members of your congregation have supported this effort also tremendously, haven't
Still
they?
going forward, you know, they did it in several ways. Some volunteer to work, some give donations of food, and then others give donation to the GoFundMe piece that we have online.
And we're going to put that on the air, the GoFundMe. That was your initial way to start getting some funds, just strictly as a pass-through to help pay to underwrite the costs of it.
Yeah, and majorly we know that the costs are going to entail just the needs that they have, along with electricity and things of that sort. So, but you know, if we hadn't gotten a dime, you know, if no one had helped, many have helped, but if no one had helped, we still were going to open the doors. We still were going to make sure that people were going to eat, and they had a place to kind of refresh themselves. And then the next morning, we don't serve as a shelter, we serve as emergency shelter, just overnight, get them out of the element, and then, and all of it, I stay in contact with Chris, saying, hey, I have a family, or hey, I have a child, or, you know, how do we get these people situated in position so that we don't lose anyone to this? You know, that's the key. We shouldn't lose anyone to inclement weather in this city, with all of the vacant buildings that we have that have heating and air.
In the Shaggin for Shelter that we have talked about during the first half and want to talk about more, those funds are badly needed for operational expenses. As a new board member, what are some of the things that you've seen that happen at United Community Ministries and the Bassett Center that have really opened your eyes to how they rebuild lives?
Well, first, again, I just got to take my hat off to Chris. Man, to just have the passion that he has, just him. And there are others in the city that are working with some of the shelter environments. But just to go there, to see what they're providing good, clean atmospheres for family, individuals, or in the Bassett Center with the kids. And it was amazing to me. One of the things that we did early on, Gene, after November of last year when it first pricked us, I went back the next day and we take a day each month and we go to the Bassett Center and we feed the entire Bassett Center.
Your church does.
Our church
Greater
does
Joy.
that. Greater Joy does that once a month. So our missions and outreach ministries, headed up by Deborah McKnight, we formed a calendar for the rest of the year, and each ministry is responsible for feeding the entire place at least once a month. So we try to take some of the burden, not that Chris doesn't take good care of them, but we try to take some of the burden off of it financially, and we try to contribute also regularly to what they're doing.
And they're doing such a great job there that for a lot of people it's a temporary respite so they can get back on their feet, because I believe within 9 months 70% of the families that are at the Bassett Center are able to transition out and stand on their own. And if you want to donate items, I know when for instance my mother passed away, we gave a lot of her furniture to them because Chris said when somebody leaves they get to choose things from the store,
Right.
what they have to set up housekeeping, and to think about going from the Bassett Center or UCM and trying to set up furniture in an apartment, that's really difficult when you don't have anything.
It is, and this Shagging for Shelter piece, Gene, it first of all, it's a fun environment from what I've gathered from being a new board member. But above that, the means by which we're able to add some substance, some resources to what is needed in Rocky Mount is incredible, because that's what this is. It's an opportunity that we can we can help into someone else's lives. And I just can't believe that, and that's what I love about Rocky Mount, is that when people are in need, somehow we find a way to come together
Yeah.
and assist.
The most
And-
giving city in the whole state of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Well, it starts, it's right here. We're at the Imperial Center, right for the fountain here, but they'll be great. You can get really good deals on auction items. You can bid on items. A lot of people donate their skills. They donate. I know Almonds always donates a nice gift basket or something like that, or a piece of jewelry. Tons of people in the committee, in the whole community, just donate wonderful things. You can get them for great prices. All of those dollars go right to the shelter. There's always a good band with dancing, gardeners. You're fed a full meal, and it's $35. And I can assure you that the vast majority of that goes right back to the shelter to help others.
That's the great thing about it. You know, if we get to the core of who we really are, and for me, it is about the fact that I am my brother's keeper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I cannot stand idly by and not help those that are in need.
Mm-hmm.
This Shaggin for Shelter is a great opportunity to do so. If you can't be there,
Mm-hmm.
still buy a ticket,
Mm-hmm.
donate,
Mm-hmm.
because the funds are going to a very, very good cause.
Absolutely.
So I'm just excited about what this is going to do to help someone else.
Super. Well, I'm excited about your being on the board and your involvement there. So thank you for all you do for our community.
Well, thank you. We Greater Joy, our whole premise of what we do, Gene, is about the community. We elect to be where we are. Mm-hmm. We love that community in South Rocky Mount, and we're there to make sure that we can assist and help in any way we can with the lives of those that are our fellow man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jean.
Appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.